Kenya's police chief has resigned following criticism of police conduct during anti-government protests last month that were sparked by government tax hikes. President William Ruto's office announced the resignation the day after the president fired nearly his entire cabinet, bowing to the demands of protesters. President Ruto withdrew the tax increases, but protests have continued. The protesters accused police of using excessive force and of abducting dozens of people as they tried to stop the demonstrations. At least 39 people died in the unrest, or have died in the unrest so far. Well, our correspondent Felix Moringa, he is following this story for us in Nairobi. Good evening to you, Felix. So why is this resignation coming now?
The resignation is coming now because there has been mounting pressure on the president to fire the Inspector General of Police. Earlier today, the leaders of opposition called on the president to fire the Inspector General of Police. An analyst I spoke to this evening also said that based on the changes that have been taking place in the country, the Inspector General of Police thought that probably the time to resign has come. The Inspector General of Police had been accused of killing innocent protesters. He was accused of abductions and was accused of leading a force that continued to perpetrate lawlessness in the country. Now, this is not the first time the police under his watch have killed innocent protesters. Just last year, during the height of opposition protests in the country, police killed 45 innocent protesters again, and the Inspector General of Police remained at the helm. So all these factors and the pressure and the calls for him to resign probably informed his decision to do the honorable act and resign earlier today.
And what would you say, what does his resignation mean to the protest movement now and to the protest movement going forward?
To the protesters, this is just the beginning of so many other changes that need to take place in the police force. Protesters need to see a police force that handles protesters well, a police force that handles, that upholds the rule of law, and a police force that is brought to book when they actually perpetuate lawlessness. The protesters do not just want to stop at the resignation of the Inspector General of Police earlier today. They want accountability. Protesters have called on the government agencies to investigate the Inspector General of Police and to bring him to book to answer questions of the killings, the abductions, and to answer why he failed to lead the police force in making the right decisions at the height of the protest. For the simple reason that some of those people who were abducted at the height of the protest are still missing and still yet to be reunited with their families. So people want accountability.
And it sounds like, Felix, that the protesters are not yet done with their demands. If you could remind us of some of those demands, and do you think we're likely to see these protests go on and continue?
The protesters have already said that on Tuesday, which is the 16th of July, they will be back to the streets, and they want the parliament dissolved. They want members of parliament who voted yes to the rejected finance bill sent home. They want the president to rein in on corruption. They want the cost of living to come down. And protesters are saying that the final demand will be for the president to resign and go home. But it is very unlikely that President Ruto will resign. What is now left of the president is that he has a huge task of rebuilding the trust that he has lost with the people, rebuilding the government institutions, and also reclaiming the legitimacy of his government.
DW's Felix Moringa with the latest tonight from Nairobi. Felix, as always, thank you.